Thanks for joining us today for this interview with Fred Highland, a graduate faculty member in UMBC's Systems Engineering graduate program. He spoke with us about his career journey and the path that took him to UMBC. He also shared what a day in the life of a systems engineer looks like, the skills and qualities that hiring managers seek in candidates, opportunities in the field, and how someone can best stand out from the competition. My name is Denise Cardona from UMBC's Office of Professional Programs, and I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to chat with Fred today. Without further ado, let's hear from him. So Fred, can you share what your career journey looked like and the path that led you here to UMBC?
I'm a retired Lockheed Martin employee. I spent 38 years with Lockheed Martin and IBM doing system development, system engineering, system architecture. I worked on the shuttle program. I worked on artificial intelligence research. I've worked on tax programs, document processing, spent a lot of years working on census programs around the world. Also did some work in medical research. So a wide variety of things as typical of a system engineer.
What did you enjoy most about your work as a systems engineer?
The most fun part for me was always that you got to work on new technology, new ideas, solve problems that weren't solved before. And that's usually what the business is about. People have a problem to solve, they need a system to solve it. And it's not simple enough that they can build it themselves. So they need someone to actually engineer a very complex solution. And a lot of times that means employing the latest in technology to make it affordable and effective. So out of that, you get a lot of satisfaction working on kind of state-of-the-art ideas and systems and solving hard problems.
What kinds of things can a person expect to do as a systems engineer?
So the types of things that you do in this is you're fundamentally supporting a bigger team. When you start off in your career, you're going to be doing kind of support items in a technical area, doing analysis, trade studies, cost analysis, performance analysis, supporting other teams that are doing development of hardware, software, or other processes. As you evolve through your career, you're probably going to get into more complex analysis, look at the bigger picture, start to get into leadership roles where you're leading small teams and potentially even leading larger teams. As you get later in your career, a lot of times you get into positions like system architecture, where you're actually leading a whole project from a technical standpoint. It's not the same thing as engineering management. That's more worried about schedules and budget, although you do get into that, but it's really worrying about the technical aspects. Does everything talk to each other? Does the whole thing fit together? Does it do what the customer wanted? And then ultimately you get into an even wider view of potentially reviewing other people's programs, seeing if they're doing the right thing to advise them to make their program better, and possibly even getting into advising on education to make sure everybody gets trained and the people like you were originally coming up in the system engineering world are getting the right skills for the future.
What skills do managers look for when hiring a systems engineer?
So hiring managers look for a lot of qualities. Of course, they look for the basic engineering skills. You know, do you understand different types of engineering? Do you have the math and analysis background? But there's a lot of soft skills that they also look for. Experience with different programs. Communications is a huge thing. System engineering, you really work with a team. And so you've got to be able to communicate with that team verbally in writing with your peers in terms of writing documents and presenting at conferences, that type of thing. So the communication skills. And of course, the ability to work with a team and experience doing that is really important. This is not a job by yourself, but it's a job for groups. So you have to be able to work with a group. Beyond that, you have to be curious. System engineering is not, in a way, one thing. And you're going to apply a set of skills to solve complex problems across a wide range of possible problems. So you have to really be interested in a lot of different things and have some diversity in your interests in order to really be successful at this.
In your opinion, what kind of qualities do hiring managers look for in candidates?
The qualities you really need are to fundamentally think quantitatively. This is really about putting numbers to problems to figure out what's best not just what feels best or what seems right, but actually being able to put a number on it and say this approach is better than this approach, or this system works better and here's the numbers to prove it. So quantitative thinking is the most important thing you've got to have, and that means you can do the analysis, you understand mathematical modeling of these systems so that you can convert whatever it needs to do into some sort of number that you can use to objectively judge the goodness of the program. The other thing, of course, is you've got to have a personality that can work with people, because it isn't going to be just you, it's going to be a team.
One of the burning questions that people have when seeking job opportunities is, how can I stand out from the competition? So what would you say to a systems engineer who wants to stand out from the competition?
To really stand out, you have to have kind of a breadth of understanding of a number of different fields. Doesn't mean you're an expert in everything. Although expertise in electrical engineering, computer science, those types of things are probably the most important, but really, those are important because they teach you basic engineering analysis methods. So it's the idea of applying that, of being able to convert a hard problem into an analytical model to do the analysis and to successfully show better approaches. And that's what they're really looking for. There's a lot of other roles in system engineering, like requirements management, that are somewhat more just organizational things, but the basic analysis and modeling capabilities are some of the stronger things. And that requires a good understanding of math and understanding of usually some sort of physics or electronics, the kind of basics of a lot of different engineering skills.
What industries or companies typically hire systems engineers?
Companies who typically hire systems engineers have large complex problems that can't be solved easily by one person, but require a team. And the whole point of system engineering is looking across the entire problem and coordinating and analyzing the entire problem, not just the individual electrical, computer, mechanical aspects of it, but bringing that all together. So it tends to be a lot of things like aerospace, defense, but they're starting to understand it more in other complex environments like the medical domain, large-scale manufacturing, even to sometimes small-scale manufacturing, because you've got a collection of usually engineers who are all focused on particular aspects, mechanical, civil, electrical, even aerospace. But they don't look at the big picture. And once you realize that they're not working together as well as they could be, you need a system engineer to get in there and coordinate the whole thing. So it's becoming more and more popular, but the origins of it, the groups that recognized it first were the big complex systems, large-scale military space, some large government programs as well, things like IRS and Census Bureau that have big complex systems that are critical to them, and they need them done right the first time.
What are some of the career opportunities present in systems engineering?
There's plenty of opportunities in systems engineering. Originally, people didn't even know it was there. I think when I started working, nobody really recognized systems engineering, and yet they were doing it. We had people that did analysis. I had to do analysis on the things I was doing. Now it's realized that it's a separate field that really crosses a lot of other disciplines, and you need people to focus on that to bring it all together. So there are a lot of jobs, especially in the military defense, but you're also seeing them in other government agencies, in the medical field, in the environment field, where they have to do these kinds of analyses to make the systems work. There's a lot of complex problems in the world, things like the environment, health, space exploration, alternative energy. None of these problems are going to be solved by individual people. They're going to take teams, they're going to take a lot of hard work, they're going to take investigation of new technology. So if you like math and science and engineering, and you have skills in that area, and you like working with people, systems engineering is a way to get into that, to help solve these problems, and it will take you places you never imagined.
Okay, that concludes our interview with Fred Highland, and I want to thank him for sharing his insights with us today. And thanks to you for joining us for this interview. If you'd like to learn more about UMBC's graduate program in systems engineering, please visit se.umbc.edu.